So one of the things you can do with a communication degree is you can go into law school. Now, I should back up about 2 steps and say that when I was in college and I was majoring in communication, I was on the debate team. And so a lot of the people that I went to college with went on to law school, and some are attorneys, and a few are even professors at law schools now, and they've even served on the admissions committee for their law school. So take it on faith when I tell you that if anyone has said to go to law school you have to major in pre-law, they are not telling you right. They're just mistaken. There's nothing wrong with pre-law programs, but what you should understand is there are no professors of pre-law. There is nobody who trains to become an educator of pre-law students. Pre-law programs tend to be stitched together from around the campus, from classes that are taught in a bunch of different departments. So there'll be writing classes in the English department, there'll be statutory construction classes from the history department, and those classes already existed. And yes, it might feel kind of encouraging, it might feel kind of comforting that you're in a class that has the word, you're in a program or a major that has the word law in its title, but law school admissions are not that impressed by pre-law majors. What they're impressed by is they want to see that what you did in college, first of all, give you a good LSAT score, and that's going to matter more than just about anything else. They want to see that your grades were high. They want to see that you took challenging classes, but they want to see that you have general knowledge, good critical thinking skills, good writing skills, and very definitely good oral communication skills. So let me take just a few minutes and make a case to you that oral communication skills are major preparation for career success as an attorney, and then let me talk to you a little bit about what the advising would look like if you came to me and said that you wanted to major in speech communication with an eye toward going on to law school. All right. Let me share with you what the American Bar Association's pre-law committee has posted on their website. They say the ability to speak clearly and persuasively is a skill that is essential to your success in law school and the practice of law. You must also have excellent listening skills if you are to understand your clients and others with whom you will interact daily. Before coming to law school, develop your basic speaking and listening skills, such as by engaging in debate, making formal presentations, or speaking before groups in school, the community, or the workplace. And a number of studies have been done over the years have turned up results that say that oral communication really makes the difference between attorneys who are successful and attorneys who struggle a lot. One of the learning outcomes that the American Bar Association includes in its accrediting standards for law programs all across the country is that the attorneys coming out will have good enough oral communication skills that they can be effective working with a client or speaking in front of a jury. A 2005 survey of the American Bar, not the American Bar, the Arizona Bar, it probed hiring partners from law firms around the state, and it asked them what kind of skills are necessary for a first-year lawyer to be successful. And oral communication and listening skills both were listed as either essential or very important by over 90% of the people responding. And just within the past year, in the American Bar Association Journal, there was an article that said that speaking skills are actually underestimated by people who are going to law school, because a lot of people say, well, I don't plan to do a lot of trial law, I don't plan to be in front of juries, so I don't need to have speaking skills. But a lot of different kinds of law. If you're going to be a corporate lawyer, you're going to have to talk to boards of directors. If you're going to be a real estate lawyer, you're going to have to talk to zoning boards. If you're going to go into solo practice, then you're going to have to build up your client base. And one of the best ways to do that is to speak to community groups, because that way you make a lot of contacts that can turn into clients later, and also to speak to groups of other attorneys, because that way you get your name out there and you build up a reputation. So the interpersonal skills, the listening skills, the speaking clearly, building relationships, and building up trust, all of those things, along with the public speaking skills, all of those are really tools that the odds are very good that they'll make you very successful as an attorney if you put in the years and the discipline to working them up to where they're at a very high level. So if you were to come to me and you wanted to major in speech communication and you were interested in going to law school, what I think we would do is we would put you first of all into the generalist track, which means you'd be studying both public speaking and interpersonal communication. When you took the Writing for the Disciplines class, where people learn a particular style manual, they learn to do MLA or APA, we would make sure that you learned how to do Blue Books so that you knew how to do the sort of citation that they expect in law school classes. So you could write for the law reviews, so you know how to write memos and so forth. We would, during the time you were here, either as an independent study or Possibly, if we could round up enough other students who wanted to go to law school, we would have legal communication as a class. And there are textbooks for that. It's a class that's offered very commonly in communication departments around the country. And the kinds of things you learn in that, you learn how to do an opening statement for a trial, where you learn how to tell a story, put evidence together into a narrative account. You would then do a closing statement where you learn to put evidence together into the kind of argument that's going to be convincing to a jury. And then you would also learn interviewing and questioning skills, which could be valuable for direct examination, cross-examination, or possibly for doing a deposition. And then we would pull all those skills together and we would do a mock trial. So a lot of the things that you would wind up doing later on in your career, or possibly doing in a litigation class in law school, or a trial class in law school, you already would have some experience and some feedback with that kind of presentation and thinking on your feet. We would also make sure that you got a chance to take argumentation and debate, so that you had the training in informal logic and you had the training in analyzing claim, warrant, and data, and explaining what is the evidence backing up the reasoning, what is the pattern of reasoning, what are flaws in reasoning, and you wouldn't get tripped up by any of that. One of the classes you take along the way is nonverbal communication, and for nonverbal communication, one of the things that you learn is what are the limitations that we can back up by social science data of the human ability to detect deception, and how can you really determine whether people are credible, whether they're telling you the truth or not. It's also a class that's very good for managing your impression, for you to think through how can you connect with people, how can you project warmth, how can you project influence, how can you persuade people going beyond just the effectiveness of your language choices and the evidence you have available to you. Another class that we offer in the interpersonal communication track is conflict resolution, and in conflict resolution you learn a lot about negotiation. And these are the kinds of negotiations if you're trying to work out a contract dispute, or if you're trying to work out a plea deal, or if you go into family law and you're trying to facilitate communication between two divorcing parents. Those are the kinds of skills that you can wind up using for the rest of your career. I would definitely encourage you to intern, not just once, and every student at NCU does an internship of some kind because it's a requirement for graduation, but I would encourage you to get workplace shadowing internship type experiences every single year you were here in law firms, and in particular in different kinds of law firms, so you could see what went into the work, and also so that you could make a lot of contacts. So as you finished up law school, wherever it is that you happen to go, you would have people that you could call upon to see if they could find you openings, if they could find firms that were hiring. I would really strongly encourage you to do at least one semester of debate, and ideally for you to do all 4 years of debate, because one thing that competitive debate does that no classroom setting can do is the people that I have known who've been competitive debaters and who've gone on to law school, the law professors say that they already know how to think like lawyers, because they know how to dissect a claim and feel around for its weaknesses. They know how to think conversationally the way chess players think, a couple of layers deep. If I say this, what will they say in return, and how can I strategize and game out how this is going to go so that I don't fall prey to any obvious weaknesses in the position that I'm trying to construct. And then finally, I think that we would look for opportunities for you to take some of our undergraduate law classes from various departments around campus: business law, entertainment law, education law, possibly mass media law, just so you would have some exposure to legal reasoning. What does case law look like? How do lines of precedent form? And how do people respond to the requirements of the law as it develops? So take some of that into account and think about it, and if it turns out that communication is the kind of thing you find fascinating and you think that you would be motivated and inspired to study as an undergraduate, but if you've always seen yourself as going on to law school and pursuing that career, don't discount a major in communication as a route that could get you to that career, because it really can. Not only can it be acceptable to law school admissions, but in the end it can turn you into a very, very effective and successful attorney.